Government set-asides and certifications can be really confusing, and it's hard to figure out which certifications will make the most money for you. Even worse, I've known people who have wasted lots of time getting certifications that have never helped them. So in today's video, I break down the 7 key things you need to know about set-asides and certifications to help you figure out which ones are best for you. This is FedAccess, and I believe government contracting shouldn't be this hard. Today's video was prompted by a viewer who asked me, is it better to be a service-disabled veteran-owned business or a woman-owned business? And I know it can be real tough for someone starting a business to figure out which certification is best. In this video, first, I'm going to show you some numbers that may really surprise you. And then we'll go over what you need to know about how certifications really work and how they can help you. Here I'm in SAM, and I'm doing a search for solicitations posted in the past year for contracts that were set aside for women-owned small businesses. And you see there were 177. And now I'm going to do the same search looking for contracts that were set aside for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And we get 7,661 contracts. Now, I want to show you how many firms you're potentially competing against. First, I'm searching for women-owned small businesses with active registrations in SAM, and there are over 104,000. Next, let's look to see how many service-disabled veteran-owned businesses there are, and there are 32,000. So there are a lot more contracts set aside for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses and a lot fewer companies chasing those contracts. Now, you may have heard that lots of contract dollars go to women-owned small businesses, but we just saw only 177 set-aside contracts. So what's up with that? The answer is that most of the contracts awarded to women-owned businesses are awarded in full and open competition or as a total small business set-aside or with a different small business preference like 8A or HUBZone. The woman-owned small business program is still not widely used, although hope springs eternal that will change in the future. So let's break this down and go over the 7 key things you need to know about set-asides and certifications. First, most small business contracts are set aside for any small business, and let me show you what I mean. I'm going back and searching for solicitations that are total small business set-aside. That means any small business can bid on these contracts, and we see over 36,000 results. And for these contracts, having the woman-owned certification doesn't help you win the contract. And now I want to show you the government procurement scorecard. This shows the government's contracting goals and their achievement for each small business category. The goals represent how much of government contracting dollars should be awarded to small businesses. We see the goal is 23% for all small businesses, 5% for women-owned, and 3% for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. Okay, so how does getting certification help you? Well, there are 2 ways certifications help you win contracts. One is competitive set-aside contracts, and the other is the ability to obtain sole source contracts. A competitive set-aside contract means that only companies that have that certification are eligible to bid on the contract. So the benefit of these contracts is that you'll have fewer competitors compared to a total small business procurement. A sole source contract means the agency just gives you the contract. You don't have to compete with other companies. Sole source contracts can be up to $6.5 million for manufacturing and up to $4 million for services. These are great contracts to get because you don't have to engage in a low price competition with your competitors. Third, and this is my most important point, you need to understand how the government purchases what you sell. Now, I want you to understand this because I've seen companies in specialized niche markets go through the hassle of obtaining 8A certification, and then they never get an 8A contract for the simple reason that contracts for what they do are not in the 8A program. And the reverse is also true. Let's say a contract's in the 8A program, meaning the contract's rebid every 3 years or so, and each time they put it out for bid, it's set aside for 8A contractors. If the contract's currently in the 8A program, it's probably going to stay that way. So if you want that contract, you need 8A certification. So my advice is this: find your target customer and find out how they purchase what you sell. And for my veterans out there, you'll find the most significant contracting preferences at the VA, so I would start my search there. So the next question is, can you change the agency's mind? Well, if the agency didn't have a particular set-aside category in mind, then it's sometimes possible to persuade them to issue a contract in your set-aside category, woman-owned, HUBZone, or whatever it is. Often, companies do this by responding to the sources sought notice to let the agency know that there are certified companies capable of performing the work at a fair and reasonable price. In federal contracting, this is known as the rule of two, and it's one of the reasons companies respond to sources sought notices. Next, don't forget about subcontracting. Large government contractors also have small business goals, which means they have to subcontract a portion of their work to women-owned and disadvantaged and service-disabled veteran-owned and HUBZone businesses. Many companies start out with a subcontract from a large prime contractor, and this may be the right choice for your business. Oh, and one last thing to consider. Getting back to my viewer's question about whether it's better to be certified as service-disabled, veteran-owned, or woman-owned. Before you think the answer is a slam dunk, let me just point out one thing. If you have two partners, and one is a veteran, the other's a woman, you're trying to decide which should be the majority owner, think about which person could qualify for 8A certification. Because 8A is a great program, and the ability to qualify for 8A certification might be the deciding factor for you. And finally, remember that getting certified for these small business contracting programs is completely free. You go to the SBA website and apply, and if you need help, there is free help available to you. So where do you go next? First, go to the SBA website and review the qualification requirements for the different small business programs. And second, find your target customers and target contracts, and then look at what mechanism they're using to bid those contracts. How do you find this information? Well, you can watch my video on how to mine data from FPDS. I've got a link in the notes below. This is FedAccess, and I believe government contracting should be accessible to everyone. Hey friends, if you got value from this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your clicks are important in helping me continue to make this content for you. And let me know in the comments if you have questions you'd like me to make a video on. Thanks for watching. See you next time.